Hello, this is RICKY, the Android guy. Hey guys, today we are doing a side-by-side comparison between the top two Android devices out on the market. That is the LG V10 and the Galaxy Note 5. We will compare these two and see which one really is the best Android phablet out in the market. Now, the first thing we always have to take a look at is look and feel. Which one is the better overall looking phone and which one feels better in the hand? Well, with the LG V10, we really see a little bit of the same, but a big departure from past phablets, but really a upgrade of the G4 when it comes to this device. So the backing just looks like a so much better refined. Just loving the camera ring, the backing of it just really looks great. It has this texture, which I'm not the biggest fan of, but again, it is replaceable, so that's a big thing to always note. Although I don't like this texture, I can always swap it out for another replacement backing. Really important. Now, it does have these bumps on the side, which unfortunately do make the phone a bit wider than I tend to like, but it does protect it, giving it a 4-foot drop rating. With the Galaxy Note 5, Samsung did a huge departure from last year's model, and again, an upgrade of the S6, their earlier phone from this year. So with this, it's going to be similar to design to what we've always seen on the front from Samsung over the past years, but what really has changed is the back. Yes, the back is really just something to behold. It's a curved back, which I like a lot. I just love this curved backing because it feels really comfortable in the hand. Polished look with the glass, and it just overall looks really, really refined, even from this year's earlier S6. The curved backing and along with the flat instead of rounded sides does make this one the overall easier one to hold, not being able to be as slippery as some of other phones with glass, but yet again just having a tighter grip on it than others. So overall, yes, I would say that the look and feel is going to go to the Galaxy Note 5. Now, when it comes to web browsing, the very thing we take a look at always is the screen. And both of these two devices actually have almost identical screens. You have a 5.7-inch screen on both of them with a 2560 by 1440, meaning a quad HD or a 2K display with a over 515 pixels per inch. The main difference here is you have an LCD display versus an LED display now, or an AMOLED display. With this, it's a preference, but overall, I definitely prefer AMOLED screens. The argument is always made that IPS is more accurate, and it was for a long time. But I feel like with Samsung's more advanced AMOLED screens, you get the whiter whites and the blacker blacks. So overall, I do think, yes, it is better, especially when you put this on professional mode. So let's take a look at their overall web browsing now that we know that they are going to be the same resolution on both devices. And it looks like only by, I want to say, 2 seconds that the Note 5 beat the V10, but very close, almost negligible. So let's see how they move now. Both scrolling good. Let's see, double tap. Oh, sorry, we are on the Chrome browser on both because I thought that would be fair to use the same browser. But of course, Chrome browser doesn't double tap anymore. It just, when it holds it down, it thinks you want to copy or search for the word. So let's just do pinch to zoom. So pinch to zoom, looking good. Looking good. So overall, I think both have an amazing web browsing experience. Although I do like the ability that the Note 5, you seem to get a lot more on your screen compared to the V10. I'm not sure why it's so much more zoomed in when I have the text setting to be the same. But overall, I think it is going to be good. And you can zoom it out if need be on the main settings, just make it smaller. But overall, I do think both these are great web browsing experiences. and for that reason, we'll call this one a tie. Now, when it comes to hearing music, both speakers are placed on the bottom, so they should have the same equal footing. Let's see which one really is better. We'll start off with the V10, then switch over to Note 5, and then back and forth.
All that money don't equal the price of fame. From LA to New York, Seattle to the Bay, West overnight flights to a wallow weekend late. Y'all go down in Vegas, they know where we stay. Last show in Cali. A boy with a dream, had my head in the clouds. Now I'm sleeping first class, got a bed in the clouds, got a bed in the clouds. Hit my pops to pick me up.
Sorry, I did cut off that a little quick, but I wanted you guys to get the overall impression that I got, which is the Note 5 definitely has the louder of the two speakers. Even when I just heard the first few notes, it just definitely stood out to me that the Note 5 was just a lot louder. Which I'm not sure why, because LG boasted such a high quality when it came to their headphones, but I feel that they should have concentrated more on the speaker internally just for the sound quality. So for that purpose, I will have to give it to the Note 5 for better overall sound quality. So with any big screen phone, you're going to be watching a lot of videos because that's the reason why we got a big screen phone. So we can watch our media, our Netflix, our YouTube, everything we want to see right on our videos. So this is the same video at a full 4K resolution because both of these phones can play full 4K on YouTube. So let's see which one is the better one. Now, I did want to end it at this part because this is where it's really different. Although the camera would have shown this a little bit washed out at times, kind of like it couldn't get the color. In this scene, you can really tell a difference between LCD and LED. Now, first of all, both of these are amazing screens to look at. But is there a clear-cut winner? I would have to say there is. I still feel that LED technology is the best technology when it comes to screens. And LG agreed on their Flex 2 from last year, or earlier this year, rather. So, really, this is why. Green, a lot of shades of green cannot be shown on an LCD. It just can't produce it. Same with black. You can get details within the black that you cannot get on an LCD. It's just not as clear. So where you get details and shadow and depth really does come from the LED screen. And this is why you get more depth, more shade on this screen than you will on this one. Now, again, you can do photo quality on this one, but when you have an AMOLED screen, I love the vibrancy in the colors. For this overall reason, I will say that yes, the Note 5 has the better overall movie watching experience, but the V10 is second to no other phone except for the Note 5. So when it comes to camera quality, the first thing we always take a look at is low light. And we're going to go by each category and see which one did better. So with this picture, I definitely think it's usually what happens when a Samsung goes against an iPhone, for instance. Whereas the Note 5, I feel, has the better overall landscape shot. However, the V10 has the better shot, especially in terms of detail and just picking up better color. Now, again, I think the Note 5 looks more of a good for like landscape if you're trying to get more of a aesthetically pleasing style. But really, when it comes to detail and just being able to brighten up the photo, the V10 did a better job overall when it comes to this photo. Now, it does overexpose the light a bit more to get that brighter light, but that depends on which way you like to take photos. As we zoom in though, we can see the 28 here. Even though it's kind of covered up by the bush on these photos, it's just a bit more clear on the V10 than it is on the Note 5. Overall, again, clarity is pretty decent on both, but I just have to give it to the V10 for just having the better overall, brighter shot. And to me, that's what I like more. I know some people like more of a just better looking landscape photo, but I rather have the better overall photo, which in this case for me is the LG V10. Now, in this photo, color's off on both, but this is the detail photo. So that's what we're going to focus on here is just the detail and see which one has better detail overall. If you're wondering what the color issue is, for some reason it's had a kind of a ghosting effect. I don't know why. And this one had an underexposure effect. So both are not good on color. But when we go to detail, we look at a few things. So when we go to the 4TB, both are very sharp and very clear. Neither really have grainness when it comes to that. And then on certain parts, each one does a little bit better. I think the 3-year looks a little bit better in here than it does on here. But then I feel like the B on the BB8 looks a bit better on here than it does on here. So kind of overall a mixture really. When it comes to the clarity on the PS4 and PS3 logos though, we see a really great clarity on both of them. So really good detail overall for both of these two. So actually when it comes to detail, I would give it a tie. Despite any megapixels, really, overall, I think it's an overall tie when it comes to both of these will give you really good detail for the camera quality. Now, the next thing is color reproduction. So we got a much better color reproduction representation on here. First thing, overall in this photo, the light indoors seems to usually be captured better by the Note 5. We did a couple different shots, indoors versus outdoors, and indoors it usually seems to do better with the Note 5. And the V10 sometimes does better outdoors, but sometimes they're about the same, and sometimes they mix. But overall, consistently, we saw better indoor shots with the Note 5, just grabbing more light, and you can see that in this shot. Just the shadow is immediately what stands out. Now, in terms of color reproduction, we have a couple different boxes here to go through colors. And in the first box, you can definitely see the purple highlighted better on the Note 5 than on the V10. And also just in the King of Tokyo and the purple background, just more depth on here than it is on the V10. In Shadow Hunter, the white one, which is always right here, and then right here, I would give a slight edge to the Note 5, but this is a lot closer, and the V10 does a much better job than any iPhone or other phone we've seen go up against the Note series. Overall, in the last one, you just really will notice the black more compared to the Sheriff one here. The black is more prevalent on here, and it's actually a darker tone in black. And you can really see when side by side that you just get a gray more compared to a black as I let those just sit there. So yeah, overall in terms of color reproduction, I would definitely give it to the Note 5. Just has that more vibrant color, but also most of the time it just gives a better depth overall to color reproduction. So yeah, I would give it to the Note 5 for better overall color. And then finally we go to selfies. Now for selfies, we broke it down into 2 sections, so we will go over both of them. So this is just for a regular selfie. So this is not using the V10's 2 cameras, it's just using one, and this is just using the Note 5's regular selfie shot. So we took them both, and if you've ever seen the camera comparison, this is the under overexposure test. So what I mean by that is on this side we see if it's underexposed and you get a lot of fuzziness, and on the top is it overexposed and you can't really see the bars for the stairwell, while obviously getting the subject in a good light. In these two, we did see that the Note 5 picked an overall better shot, just getting definitely more detail, but also you will notice it is still, of course, a wider angle. So you get a much wider shot in here, and you can see, whereas this only got the top of my jersey, This got the beginning of the number 7 as well. So you can definitely just see more detail, not only in just because it gets more in the shot, but overall it's going to be better at the under overexposure. So this is flat, it's not as fuzzy and grainy as the V10 is over here, and the rails are more prevalent here than they are here where it's kind of faded off, and it's kind of yellowish for some reason on that one. So yeah, a better overall selfies will go to the Note 5. But what about the wide angle selfie? Well, I found a very interesting thing with this. LG said that they put two cameras in here to not have a bubble effect like you do when you do the wide selfie on an S6 and up. So on the S6 Edge, they both have what's called a wide selfie, where you, in a sense, do a reverse panorama shot with a front camera, and you get a wider selfie. But when we did that, this is what we got. So I found this really interesting because LG made such a big deal, like, oh, well, we have two cameras, so what we can actually do is get a much wider shot without having a fish effect. But that's exactly what it did. As you can see, my walls are completely bent by this fish effect by using both cameras. Now, the benefit of the V10, I would actually say more so, is the height. You get a huge height increase compared to Samsung solution, which, as you can see, is a lot less height. It really is just a wide selfie shot. It's more of a panorama. LG, you get a lot more height for your shot, but that bubble effect really is bad and prevalent in this shot. And I think the overall quality of the photo just suffers for that. It just looks weird, and it's not really a shot that you would love to share for a wide selfie. If you did have a bunch of people in the shot, I think, if they get distorted, it obviously won't look good. With the Note 5, though, it does do the wide angle selfie very well, I would say. Again, it's not as good as a regular selfie. That's why it is a lot more grainy in the background over here compared to its previous selfie. But you get a lot more in the shot, and you even get wider of a shot compared to the V10. So as we can see here, although this area starts at the same spot, whereas here I can get the entire door and more, and here I only get about halfway through the door. So on the Note 5's version of a wide angle selfie, you get more in the shot. For the V10's version, you get more height, but it does get distorted on the side. So it's important to note for that purpose. So yes, overall, in terms of low light, I would actually give it to the V10 overall, at least for this shot. Both are great low light cameras, but overall, yes, I would give it to the Note 5. In details, they're pretty much dead on the same. Overall, giving a great detail no matter what for most of their shots. Color reproduction does go to the Note 5, just overall better color, especially when it comes to indoor. The color and lighting tends to do better. And in terms of selfies, it's definitely going to go to the Note 5, just better overall for a regular selfie and clearly better for a wide selfie. Now, when it comes to gaming between these two devices, honestly, I really haven't seen too much of a difference. I would say that both have great screens, both have great processors, and great graphics cards, so really you're not going to get any stuttering or lagging on either one. When it comes to these two phones, I think you're going to get the best overall gaming experience that you can get on Android in 2015. Now, both of these devices are known as phablets, meaning that they give you a longer battery life than an average phone would. Bigger screen typically means that it can have a bigger battery and provide you with a better battery life. When it comes to these two, though, there is a definite winner, and that is going to be the Note 5. Overall, when using the device, it just seems to have a longer lasting battery. As we always check in every review, we see what the battery life was at the beginning of this scene. And with this two devices, the V10 was at about 80% and the Note 5 was at about 86%. So there's only a 6% gap between the two. However, that has gone all the way up to 11% after using it while setting it up for the review. So because of this and just the overall usage when seeing it, 2 hours compared to 3 hours and still draining less, and just the ability to how much time you have remaining, you get just a lot more overall with the Note 5 on a more continuous basis. So overall, yes, for getting on average as high as a 2 to 3 hour longer battery life for heavy usage, I would give it to the Galaxy Note 5 for just having the better overall battery life between the two. Now, when it comes to extras, come on, you know who's going to win this one. The LG V10 has every extra that Samsung left behind. It has removable battery, it has expandable memory. Those two features alone definitely give it the extra category. You can make a debate between which one's better between the second screen and durability factor compared to the S Pen, but overall, I think anyone would have to agree that when it comes to extras, you definitely get more from the LG V10. It just delivers where Samsung doesn't have those extras category anymore. And finally, we come to price. Now, this is before the V10 launches, so we don't have an exact price point yet. However, from what everything is saying, it does look like it will be under $750, and namely, mostly looking around the $700 price point for the LG V10, which would put it at a lower price point compared to the $750 on average Note 5. Yes, they both have 32 gigs of storage built in, but you have to hand it to LG for having a lower price point and getting more bang for your buck, having the ability to expand the storage at that price point, whereas Galaxy Note 5 does not give you that ability. So yes, overall, I would have to give the better price point to LG V10, even though we do not have a final price point at this time. All right, let's tie them up and see who won. When it comes to look and feel, it does go to the Galaxy Note 5, just having the better overall look and feel between the two. When it comes to web browsing, it is a tie. Overall, both these two devices have a great web browsing experience, and you'll find both are really good at it. When it comes to music and movies, it's going to definitely be the Note 5, just having the better overall experience when it comes between the two, when it comes to overall entertainment and speaker quality and overall screen quality when it comes to watching movies. When it comes to camera, man, this was a close one, guys. But overall, I do have to go to the Note 5, especially it pulls ahead in the selfie category. But overall, two really great cameras when it comes to these two devices. When it comes to gaming, it's going to be a tie, just overall having a great gaming experience on both devices. When it comes to battery life, the Note 5 seems to consistently get a minimum of an hour longer battery life, and on average, 2 to 3 hour battery life. When it comes to extras, it's going to be the LG V10, just definitely having those extra categories from the IR blaster to the removable battery and storage. When it comes to price point, again, it will be the V10, just overall having the expected lower price between the two. So when we tally them all up, although it is close, the Note 5 does win it. Just having the better overall look and feel, music, movies, camera, and especially battery life, it's going to be the better overall phone for these categories. However, if you're looking for price point and extras, you're definitely going to want to stick with the V10 as it is your better option. Let me know what you guys think about the video. Please give a like, thumbs up down below. This has been RICKY, the Android Guy.